Have you ever felt like you're at the end of your rope? Like your prayers bounce off the ceiling and go nowhere? What if I told you that God is preparing something incredible for you right now? You might be thinking, but everything seems hopeless. Or, I've prayed so long, and nothing has changed. Stick around, because today, we're diving into why you should never stop praying, and how God is about to change your life in ways you can't even imagine. First, let's talk about the power of prayer. Prayer is more than just words. It's a conversation with God. It's a way to share our deepest fears, hopes, and dreams. Have you ever noticed that the more you pray, the more peace you feel? That's because prayer shifts our focus from our problems to God's abilities. Even when it feels like God is silent, He is listening. He sees the struggles you're going through. He knows your heart. Now, let's dig into a few key points about prayer and its transformative power. One thing to remember is that God's timing is different from ours. We often want instant answers, but God's timing is perfect. Think about the story of Abraham and Sarah. They waited many years for a child. They were nearly 90 when their miracle happened, but God fulfilled His promise in His time. Their situation seemed impossible, but God showed up. Do you have something in your life you've been waiting on? Maybe a job, a relationship, or healing? It's so easy to feel discouraged. But remember, God is never late. He's always on time. Next, let's talk about faith. One of the most important parts of prayer is having faith. In Matthew 17:20, it says that faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. Even if you feel like your faith is tiny, that's enough. Just like the story of the woman who touched Jesus' cloak and was healed. She knew that if she could just touch Him, her life would change. Her faith drove her to act, and she received her miracle. So, what step can you take today to show your faith? Maybe it's writing down your prayers or sharing your struggles with someone. You don't have to do it alone. Community is vital. Having prayer partners or a support group can make a huge difference. Sometimes we may feel weak and need others to lift us up. In Acts 12, when Peter was imprisoned, the church prayed fervently for him. Because of their prayer, he was miraculously freed. This shows us the strength of unity in prayer. Let's also consider the importance of persistence. Luke 18 tells the parable of the persistent widow. She kept coming back to the judge, asking for justice. Her determination led to a change in her situation. God wants us to be persistent in our prayers too. Maybe your answer hasn't come yet because God is testing your resolve. He wants you to keep praying, keep believing. Every prayer counts, even if you can't see immediate results. What are some areas in your life where you can be more persistent? Write them down and make a plan to pray daily for them. Let's also remember the role of gratitude in our prayers. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18 encourages us to rejoice always and pray without ceasing. But it also reminds us to give thanks in all circumstances. Thankfulness opens the door for more blessings. It changes our mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. At the end of your prayers, try adding a simple thank you to God for what He has done and what He will do. Lastly, trust in God's plan. Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us that God has plans for our lives. Plans to prosper us, not to harm us. Sometimes we can't see the full picture, but we must trust that He does. Even when things seem chaotic, God has a purpose in it all. Have faith that He is working everything together for your good. Now, let me share a story from the Bible with you. It's the story of a woman named Hannah, who longed for a child. For many years, she faced the pain of being barren. But instead of giving up, Hannah did something remarkable. She kept praying. Day after day, year after year, she poured out her heart to God, even when it seemed like nothing was happening. One day, while praying in the temple, her anguish was so intense that the priest, Eli, thought she was drunk. But Hannah wasn't swayed by his misunderstanding. She explained, "I was pouring out my soul to the Lord." Eli, seeing her faith, blessed her, saying, "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him." God heard Hannah's persistent prayers. She conceived and gave birth to a son, Samuel, who became one of Israel's greatest prophets. Through her unwavering faith and prayer, God transformed her life and brought her the miracle she had longed for. Just like Hannah, when we feel like giving up, we must remember that God hears every prayer. Even in the silence, He is working behind the scenes. So, don't stop praying. Just like Hannah, your breakthrough is closer than you think. Stay faithful, because God is about to change your life. As we wrap up this part of our discussion, think about these questions. What is something you've been praying for that feels overwhelming? How can you shift your focus today from the problem to God's capability? I encourage you to jot down these thoughts as you continue to seek God's guidance. Remember, God is about to change your life. All He asks is for you to keep praying. Don't give up hope. If this video resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and share it with friends who might need encouragement. Leave a comment below about what you've been praying for. Let's support each other in faith. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring content. Let's continue this journey together. Keep the faith and keep praying.